stay hidden, or we will not survive.
Leave us alone.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father? You still want Kenobi. He's gone.
Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter to squeeze him. You can't run, Obi-Wan! You can't escape him!
Hello there, everyone. This is going to be my Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer video. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. They finally gave us some new footage and footage of Darth Vader himself. If you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Remember, they made a change. They actually made the first 2 episodes drop during Star Wars Celebration a couple days later. So the first 2 episodes will drop the first week, and then after that, it'll be weekly. But they're billing this one as like the first regular trailer, so there'll be a bunch more trailers after this. I think that's because they're just giving you the other side of the equation, Darth Vader himself, Hayden Christensen, coming back to Star Wars. The really cool thing that you've probably seen in real life happening the past couple of weeks is that Hayden Christensen himself has been talking about coming back to the role of Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, as well as Ewan McGregor talking about the series in general and what's going on with Season 2. Previously, they billed it like a one-off, like they were just going to do one season, but now Ewan McGregor's been talking about coming back and doing more Obi-Wan Kenobi seasons after this during this part of the timeline, and Hayden Christensen said this is really only the beginning of him coming back as Darth Vader. So I think we all had the theory that when they cast him as Darth Vader during this, that we'd also see him in Anakin Skywalker flashbacks, and also probably showing up during the Ahsoka series when they do those episodes next year in whatever flashbacks they do for that.
Ahsoka.
Anakin, I won't leave you. Not this time.
Then you will die.
So if you're big fans of the Darth Vader comic book series, this is probably the closest you'll get to a legit Darth Vader series, even though they didn't really feature him during the first teaser, and you're just getting a little bit of him now. What they do show us during this trailer is him just putting his armor on after coming out of his bacta tank inside his castle, his fortress on Mustafar. Because the big facility that they keep flying to, this giant black fortress, is called the Fortress Inquisitorius. It's where the Emperor kept all the Inquisitors and trained them in the dark side arts, and where he tortured a lot of Jedi that he brought back looking for more information. They also visit the Fortress Inquisitorius during the Jedi Fallen Order game, so a lot of you probably remember it from that. That was just on a different moon in the same Mustafar system, so Darth Vader himself is kind of stewing over in the dark side in his own castle here on Mustafar, while the Inquisitors are really, really close by. But the funny thing is that he actually never really cared about the Inquisitors. In fact, he actually really hated the idea of somebody potentially replacing him and the Emperor just killing him off the same way that he did to his previous apprentice, Darth Maul. Even though technically Darth Maul didn't wind up dying till way later in the timeline. He's supposed to not show up during this series. There isn't supposed to be any kind of Darth Maul. I don't think that they're lying about that. There might be some loose references to that. If you want to see the final rematch of Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul, he doesn't really wind up killing him till the events of Star Wars Rebels, which is like a year or so before the events of A New Hope. By that time, he started to look more like the Alec Guinness version of Obi-Wan Kenobi, like old man Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because so many of you are asking about other big characters cameoing and we're getting The Mandalorian Season 3 supposedly by the end of the year, a lot of you are asking if Grogu is going to show up during this part of the timeline, because if you didn't know, Grogu and Anakin Skywalker are meant to be about the same age. It's just that Grogu came to the Jedi Temple a couple years before Anakin Skywalker, so they would have encountered each other during their childhood at the Jedi Temple before Order 66. But what we learned during the Book of Boba Fett flashback scenes, where we get Grogu's backstory with Luke Skywalker, is that by this time, he'd been hiding himself from the Force, and had slowly been forgetting his teachings because he hadn't been using them. So 10 years had gone by. So during this time, he's probably hiding somewhere deep in the Outer Rim, so I'm not expecting to see him, but they could reference him in some loose way. Yoda's still very much alive. Obviously, Emperor Palpatine is still very much active. So we'll see if they reference either of them or if they wind up referencing Grogu in any way. A lot of you probably detected a lot of the familiar music cues during this, like obviously it's Duel of the Fates because that is a big Anakin Skywalker theme. Duel of the Fates from Phantom Menace is literally a reference to a duel over the fate of Anakin Skywalker that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn wind up losing to the Emperor himself. A little bit of Darth Vader's theme, a little bit of the actual Obi-Wan Kenobi theme, and a little bit of the classic Imperial March played during this too from Empire Strikes Back. They did compose a lot of completely new music for the Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes, but John Williams came back to compose the actual Obi-Wan Kenobi theme because, if you can believe it, during the original trilogy, he never actually created an original Obi-Wan Kenobi theme just for that character like he did for Yoda or for Luke Skywalker. But John Williams just came back to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi theme, that one piece of music. All the regular episodes were done by a completely different person. One of the other cool things they show you with this is an encounter that Obi-Wan Kenobi has with Owen Lars. Obviously, Joel Edgerton came back to play the character. If you remember that last scene from Revenge of the Sith where he drops off Luke Skywalker with Owen and Beru Lars, all the same actors from that scene came back, except for the baby, obviously. Different actor playing Luke Skywalker. But you can see Obi-Wan Kenobi arguing with him about how Luke Skywalker will eventually need to be trained in the Force because he's so naturally talented and so powerful, so potentially powerful. And Owen Lars throws Anakin Skywalker back in his face. Like, you trained his father? How dare you?
Leave us alone.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father?
It seems like they'll give you more Owen Lars' backstory and explain why it is that he hated the idea of Force sensitives so much, why he didn't want Luke to be trained. And a lot of that will have to do with what happens with the Inquisitors, the Grand Inquisitor, coming to Tatooine looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So if it wasn't clear, even though they kind of tease you with the idea of the Inquisitors maybe finding out about Luke Skywalker, they're not really completely trying to break the timeline. And the whole idea is that Darth Vader didn't fully learn that Luke Skywalker was alive and his son and the potential of Leia till much later in the timeline. He learned Luke Skywalker's secret identity before the events of Empire Strikes Back, but just a little while before Empire Strikes Back. So he came into that movie knowing that Luke Skywalker was his son. That's why when they fought each other on Cloud City, it seems like his moves were so basic because he wasn't really trying to kill Luke Skywalker. He was trying to turn him to the dark side.
Luke, join me on the dark side of the Force. My son, it is the only way.
It looks like they saw all your Grand Inquisitor tweets last time because his head looks way more accurate, even though the eyes are just a little bit different. I think they tuned him up just a little bit to make him a little more accurate to the depiction that you saw during the Star Wars Rebels episodes. The whole idea is that they've come to Tatooine searching for Obi-Wan Kenobi on the orders of Darth Vader. You hear the Inquisitors yelling about him over and over. You won't escape him. They're talking about Darth Vader. But you also hear them communicating with Darth Vader during the trailer when they say, "You still want him," referring to Darth Vader wanting Obi-Wan Kenobi. This character here is named Reva. They're calling her the third sister. She's a brand new character. She's not from the canon before. They just introduced her for the TV show. The other character is meant to be the fifth brother. I believe he's played by Sun Kang, who most of you remember from the Fast and Furious series. The fifth brother was featured during the Star Wars Rebels episode, so you have probably seen a version of him before. The Grand Inquisitor has this crazy backstory too, so he was actually one of the Jedi Temple Guardians on Coruscant for a long time. Dave Filoni actually said that he was meant to be one of the Temple Guardians who was escorting Ahsoka during her trial when she was much younger and wound up leaving the Jedi Order. And during that trial, he started to have some misgivings about the Jedi Order just in general, and then by the time Order 66 rolled around later in the timeline, he'd really started to dislike the Jedi Order. So when Order 66 was actually going down, when Anakin was raiding the temple, that's when he sort of switched sides and helped the Emperor execute Order 66. That was when he officially turned to the dark side. The other planet that they show you during this trailer that looks kind of like the Hong Kong casino planet with all the neon signs is called Daiyu. It's also brand new. They haven't used it before in the Star Wars canon before. It seems like Obi-Wan Kenobi goes there to help someone during the course of this series. Like there's some problem that gives him a big call to action that causes him to leave Tatooine. There are a lot of people that think that the reason for that has something to do with the young version of Leia, because if you have a young version of Luke, why wouldn't you also bring a young version of Leia? But it also sounds like he's trying to help other Jedi too, because you hear him speaking, "Stay hidden, stay safe." So he's talking to other Jedi who have been in hiding or other Force sensitives in hiding since the end of Order 66. You also see some signs scribbled into walls here on this other planet too. So it sounds like we're just going to see a bunch of these other Jedi that have been hiding out. Which it also seems like Kumail Nanjiani is playing, like he's wearing Jedi robes. I don't know who he's playing, if he's someone from the canon or if he's going to be a brand new character that they're just introducing for the series. It also seems like there's this big fight at the Fortress Inquisitorius, so maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi winds up raiding it to save someone. And maybe that's where the big fight with Darth Vader winds up happening. There is supposed to be a big rematch between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. There's been a lot of talk about this because previously I think a lot of people believe that the canon stated that their first rematch after Revenge of the Sith on Mustafar, where he basically turned him into human charcoal briquette, was during A New Hope on the Death Star.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
The way they've explained it for the series is they just kind of modified the interpretation of that line just a little bit. So technically, this will be the last fight that they have, unless they do a season 2 and there is some kind of rematch next season. Either way, there's going to be a lot of Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting Darth Vader during this part of the timeline about 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. Darth Vader himself is supposed to be the most powerful that he's ever been. Both of them are still relatively young during this period, even though obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi much older than Darth Vader himself. But the reason why you only see them putting on the one mechanical arm is because he'd only lost one of his arms on Mustafar. The Emperor himself actually cut off Darth Vader's other hand as a sort of penance for the destruction of the first Death Star. He chopped off his other hand for Darth Vader's failure to stop the rebels from destroying the first Death Star. I will do more bonus videos for the series. We'll get more trailers as we get a little bit closer. There's just so much to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun to do episodes for this. All my big Doctor Strange 2 videos, my post-credit scenes, full Easter eggs breakdown of the movie will start posting in the next couple of days. Make sure you enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss those, and go see that movie as soon as possible. Do not wait to go see it. They just released the Moon Knight finale. You can click here for my full Moon Knight Episode 6 finale video and Easter eggs, and click here for my Doctor Strange 2 review video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and may the 4th be with you.